Hi, and welcome back to Positive Pets with MJ. I'm Melissa Vieira, but you can call me MJ.
I'll call you MJ, sure.
All right, sounds good.
I'm trying to get my microphone in a way that works for me, but it's not going to work.
That's all right. Tonight we're talking about puppies, one of my favorite things. I say that about every animal, though, because I don't really have a favorite. I like them all, I would have to say.
Is there an animal that you don't like?
No.
Really?
Yeah, I don't think so. I haven't met one yet. What about you?
Do bees and hornets count as an animal?
Yeah, of course.
Then I don't like those.
You like hornets. Oh, no, you like bees better than hornets, right?
I do.
Okay.
Yeah. Bees serve a purpose. Hornets are just buttholes.
I'm going to research that and find out their purpose, just so every time you say you don't like them, I can say, but they have a purpose.
I don't know what that purpose would be, except for there's some birds that eat them, I think.
Yeah, really?
Yeah.
I'm sure. I mean, makes sense.
But you like every animal? There's got to be some animal that you don't like.
I don't know. I think I like them all.
I'm just trying to think of what animals like people generally don't like.
Usually bugs people don't like, or reptiles. I mean, I would never have like a pet reptile or a pet bug, but I still like them.
Well, reptiles are kind of cool. What about a tarantula? Would you ever have a tarantula?
Not as a pet.
But if somebody had one, would you like want to hold it if you went over their house and they had one?
I would admire it. I wouldn't hold it, I don't think. I don't know. Does a tarantula really want to be held? I've never really.
People who have them claim that they do.
They like it?
I have a friend who raises them.
Really?
Yeah, and she says that they're very cuddly. They like to be held. They like to be shown affection.
So maybe can she bring one on the show
sometime?
No,
we don't need that.
Why?
Because I don't want it in here. But when you go to like Rhode Island Comic-Con and they do the Terracon and all that stuff,
yeah,
there's a guy that goes around with all kinds of like weird things. Tarantulas, scorpions, different snakes, and you can go over there and hold them all.
Interesting.
Like I'm not doing that.
You're all set with that.
Yeah. It's not.
We're gonna scare the audience away before we start talking about cute puppies.
Right. We will be talking about nice, fluffy, fun, fuzzy things.
Absolutely adorable puppies.
But I don't know. I don't see the need to hold an insect. That's not what they're for.
I mean, if you're rescuing them from a situation, like if they're in your house and you need to hold them to get them outside. Do you do that? No.
No, I smash them.
Oh, no.
I smash everything.
All right. We're going to have to agree to disagree on this one.
But I don't smash puppies.
Remind me to show you the picture of a spider that I rescued the other day.
Okay.
In my shop. I shouldn't say where it is because I'm just going to scare everyone away again.
This time of year, bugs just go in.
Yeah.
Like, so it doesn't mean anything. You know, I tell people all the time when I'll see people post pictures on Facebook and I found this bug in my house. What does it mean? It means the bug came in from outside. Don't worry
just kind of walked in.
Yeah.
And the spider I found was definitely normal sized. It wasn't giant at all. It was giant.
Well,
it was really big.
Giant is relative.
But back to puppies. So there's a few important points I want to cover tonight about puppies, and that's before you even get a puppy. If you're planning to get a puppy, there's definitely some steps that you can take to help prepare for this. This is a huge life changer. If you get a puppy, you're going to be changing your routine quite a bit. Even if you already have a dog, you might be going back a little bit and changing your routine with how frequently they have to go out and they have to be cared for. So there's definitely some planning stages. And then when you actually get the puppy home, planning to start creating really good habits for your puppy right from the start. I have a theory that kind of the first 2 weeks of getting any dog or a puppy, those are really good habit forming weeks. So the first 2 weeks, whatever schedule you're feeding the dog, walking the dog, training, and setting up the rules and manners, those are really important times.
Is there obviously you're going to make like a checklist of things.
Yeah.
Of like a plan of attack that you want to go through for getting that dog, but it must change a little bit depending on what kind of dog you're bringing home.
Oh yeah, definitely. So I mean, like a supply list, you could sit down, have all the supplies you want to get first before the puppy comes home, so you're not like, my puppy's needs this or needs that, and I have to run out to the store at 9 o'clock at night and try to find one that's open. So things you might want, a crate, if you plan to crate train, or you could just have like a puppy-proof room. But remember, they're going to get into everything. So if you have a puppy-proof room, make sure there's no things they can chew, cords, things they can ruin, because you don't want to be upset with your puppy when you first get them. That's a really, it's not a good way to start the relationship.
Well, let's just say that you were going to get a small puppy.
Yeah.
That will eventually grow into a large dog. Mm-hmm. Is it a good idea to get a larger crate at the beginning if you know that you want to keep the dog in the crate? Or is it better to start off with one more its size? Like, will it feel, if the crate is too large, will the dog feel like it's too alone, too abandoned?
Yeah, you don't want them in one that's oversized, because then they might not understand to use it just as a nap area. They might think like one corner is a potty area and one corner is a sleeping area. But they definitely should be able to stand up and move around, turn around fully without feeling like they're, having a hard time turning around. So you want the crate to be big enough. But you might not use the crate forever either. That might just be for those potty training stages. So you could either buy a bigger crate if you think you'll definitely use it. That way you can transition into it. Or you could get a big crate with a divider. They sell those now. So those are kind of cool.
Some people do keep their dog in a crate all the time, though. Like, some people choose to have the dog sleep in its crate. And like, that's like your home. Not that they lock it up, but they, they open the door and then it's up to the dog to crawl in and lay in there, and they keep their bed in the crate.
So they might want to plan to have, obviously, a bigger crate, but you don't need that right away. You can go get that later on and hopefully find one at a yard sale, so you don't have to buy a crate every few weeks. The puppy grows.
I'm all about the yard sales. That's where I got my dog crate, and that's where my dog crate went when I wasn't using it anymore.
See, because that one that they outgrow, where is that going to go, right?
What about one of the things that I think people think about when they get a dog is putting it outside, and if you don't have a fenced-in yard, do you recommend having a dog be on a runner, or do you recommend having a dog be in a fenced-in smaller area in the yard? What's better for a dog from their perspective?
Well, it all depends on the dog, and it depends how you're interacting with them. So no matter what, if you have a fenced-in yard or they're on a runner, you should be out there with them. So they don't get out or anything. Anyone could come in your yard as well, so that's always a concern. A fenced-in yard is really great because then they can run free. They don't have the leash, hanging behind them. But a runner is fine too if you're out there with them and you want to give them some more distance away from you. That's another option. I would definitely say if you use a runner, have them on a harness so they never hit the end of the runner and hurt themselves.
Well, my dog is on a runner, and she has never really gotten to the point where it's a really, really long way. She can get to every corner of my yard pretty much. But mainly because when she wants to come in, we want to be able to just open up the door and take the runner and tie it up inside so that you don't have to go out there in the snow and search for the runner and all that stuff. But she kind of learned the end of her runner, and she doesn't really go beyond it. My mom had a dog when I was a kid, a little Yorkie, that never knew the end of the runner.
Oh, no.
And so when somebody would come into the yard, or somebody, if the mailman was driving by, the dog would just and take off with the runner until she got to the point where she couldn't go anymore and snap back.
This is definitely the same Yorkie that attacked the mail truck, maybe?
Yep, she bit the tire of a mail truck, and she bit other things.
Oh, she was a handful.
She was.
She must have taught you a lot about dogs, though.
I learned nothing from her.
You learned not to get a Yorkie. No, I'm just kidding. Yorkies are wonderful.
I think it was just she thought she was a bigger and tougher dog than she really was.
Aww. She had that complex.
Yeah. So, but and having a runner is, I find, at least in my experience, that's a better option than having a chain around a tree with a leash on it.
Oh, yeah.
Because it's a little bit more, it's less restrictive.
Yeah, definitely. And they can get tangled in anything. So if you just tie them around a tree or something, even if you turn your back for 1 second, they could have the leash under their leg, or, they could really hurt themselves that way. So, yeah.
One thing I've noticed about the runner, though, is that it does weaken over time.
Oh.
And it does eventually snap.
Yeah.
Which is usually when we're like, where's Ruby?
And I would definitely
Where'd she go?
Oh, no. She doesn't go far, though, right?
Well, when she gets free, she likes to run all around the neighborhood.
Oh, boy.
Until she gets it out of her system. But, she doesn't, run away. She, runs around you and then gets really close to you, like she's expecting you to chase her.
She thinks this is fun.
Right. And I was like, I'm getting in the car and chasing you.
Bye, Ruby.
Yeah. I'll find you on the next street over in the car because I'm not running. I don't have the energy that she has.
Oh, Ruby. What are we going to do with her?
But so, you got to keep that in mind. Like if you're going to buy a dog that's going to be a 60-pound full-size dog,
right,
buy a 60-pound lead on the runner.
Right.
Because you can always swap them out, but why not just get the strongest one to start with? It's not going to hurt a puppy to have a more heavier lead. And
with puppies, you're going to be out there a lot of the times with them. So you don't want to just like leave them outside and see if they do their thing, because you're training them at the same time. So you're training them where they're supposed to go. And, being out there on a leash, you can treat them when they go outside and make sure they're not having accidents inside. So you're participating with them.
My dog can go wherever she wants in the yard.
Well, not in the house though, right?
No, she's not supposed to go.
So puppies don't know that because they're just, they might have just been whelped a few weeks ago, and they're just learning how to be in a house and learning the rules.
I find that, as long as you go out there and rake it all back.
Yeah.
Every once in a while, you're kind of. I know some people want to set up like, this is your area.
Yeah.
This is where you go. And I'm like, if you're outside, as long as you're not doing it like right where we're walking,
then that's fine. Yeah.
And she's pretty good about it. She goes to the edge of the yard because she wants privacy. It's funny, like when we first got her, she refused to like go if you were looking at her. You had to like kind of turn around.
Yeah, some dogs are like that.
And she would like give you this look, like, why are you watching me?
Aw.
I'm like, you're the one that wants to like lick the toilet bowl that I go in. So if I want to watch you go to the bathroom.
Did you give her a treat when she went? Did you potty train her, or was
she came already trained.
She was a couple years old, right?
Yeah, she was a year and a half when we got her.
So that's good.
She already knew.
Kind of worked out.
But that didn't stop her from she will.
She had her moments.
She'll forget potty training when she gets mad at us.
Oh.
Yeah.
I'm sure it's your fault.
It is.
I'm always on Ruby's team.
But the idea too with puppies, from the experiences that I've had with my family getting puppies and with friends that have had puppies, is that it's like potty training a kid. It's not going to be perfect the first time. So you're going to have to go through trial and error.
Yeah.
And if you're going to do that, you have to be patient.
Yeah, and I mean, don't be a jerk if they have an accident, because it's already happened. There's nothing you can do about it. Like, they have an accident, take them outside and clean it up and, try again. So the biggest thing is taking them out frequently enough that they're not having accidents. And for a puppy, that might be every 4 hours. It might be even less than that, depending on their activities. Like every time they play, they nap, they eat, they drink, they're going to have to go. And that's just kind of the way it is.
What about when it comes to, and this is a big problem, I'm sure, with puppies for a lot of people, is what if you don't want the dog to sit on the furniture?
Yeah.
Like, how do you do that in a way? Because, I've seen a lot of people, they'll like whap them with the back of their hand. Like, come on, like push their butt off and like,
and then they just kind of like wiggle their way back up, right?
Yep. Or they'll, what I used to do with my cat, spray him with a spray bottle. When he was on, because that's how I taught him not to go on the counter. Yeah, but if you did
that with Ruby, she would probably just laugh at you and be like, "Ha, I love water." No,
no, she doesn't like to get wet. But when I had my 2 cats, I was trying to teach them to stay off the counter, because I had one cat I had a gas stove, and so the cat would always climb onto the gas stove and sit on it, and I was worried she was going to kick it on with her foot, which she did do one time, and so I wanted to teach her a lesson one time, so I turned the gas on while she was sitting on the stove.
Oh no!
Just to like show her like.
Why do you tell me these things?
No, she wasn't on the burner.
Okay.
But she was. So
away you were showing her from a safe distance.
I was showing her like I was turning it on, so you'd be like, "Wait, that's too hot. I shouldn't be here." And then when I turned it on, she jumped off the stove, but instead of jumping away from the flame, she jumped into the flame and singed her tail.
Oh.
Still didn't learn her lesson though. Still sat on the stove all the time.
That was a really sad story.
So that was the wrong way to train my cat, not to sit on the stove.
Well, it's really good that you brought that up, because that's like those 2 weeks when you first get the puppy and you're like, oh, they're so cute. I'm just going to let them do whatever they want. They're little, it does no harm. But then later they start getting bigger and they're a teenager and you're like, I don't want them on the couch anymore. And then you start having all these issues because you didn't address it sooner when you could have. And of course, even rescue dogs, if you're getting a dog that's not a puppy, you can use the same rule as, creating those habits right from the start. So for the couch, I mean, if you really don't want your dog on the couch, it's just being strict enough that they know that they're never allowed up there. That means all the family members are on the same terms. Nobody's like cheating and encouraging them to come up. If you're a really advanced trainer, you can train them to come up just on cue, and not when you don't ask them to. But I don't usually recommend that because that's it's a lot of work for the general, you probably don't want to spend a whole lot of time trying to train this.
Well, Ruby's not learning either way. Like,
I know when she goes on the couch.
We tell her all the time not to go on the couch. The minute you turn your back, she's on the couch.
See, but I think you should just let her on the couch because she's already up there all the time.
No, it's a leather couch and she pokes holes in it. And
how long have you had her? A couple years?
Oh, yeah. So 7 years now.
Oh, it's a good time to break this habit 7 years later.
Yeah, 7 years.
You could still definitely train it, though. Does she have a bed? Like somewhere?
She does, yeah. We tell her all the time, just don't lay on the couch, lay on your bed.
I have an idea.
Okay.
Do you watch TV in the living room? Is that like where
yes,
you?
Yeah.
So when you're watching TV or video games, whatever you do, sit in her bed.
It's gross.
So you're in her bed. She's gonna be like, "Oh, that's great. That's where I want to be."
That's where she. That's where she gnaws on pizza crusts and stuff.
Oh, see.
Whenever you give her anything, she takes it over to her bed.
Where do you gnaw on pizza crust?
I don't. I give it to the dog.
Oh, okay.
That's why she's gnawing on it.
Well, what you could do, anytime you catch her going up onto the sofa, just redirect her right away and bring her to where she should go. You could even try moving her bed, like move it closer to the sofa because she probably just wants to be next to you and like hang out with you. And
no, she doesn't sit on the couch when we're on it.
She waits till you're not
It's when
looking.
we're not on it that she wants. And I'm like, listen.
You gotta set her up.
I try to rationalize with her, like, it's the least comfortable couch in the world. Like, it's broken. But I won't get rid of it because I got it for free. And it was a pain to get in and out of my house, so I'm not looking forward to the time that I have to remove it and bring another couch in. My door is way too small. I have no idea how I got in the couches that I've had, but I've told her, I said, when I lay on the couch, I get up and I complain about how much it hurts. How can you enjoy laying on the bed? But
she probably has like the perfect little indent on the couch where she just curls right up.
Yeah, she does too, right on the spot where she especially shouldn't be. Because that's why the springs are all broken in it.
So now you're blaming it on her.
I saw this offer somebody had the other day where they were giving away a free 2-year-old sectional couch. And I'm like, oh, I should get that. That's beautiful, and I can go borrow my dad's van and go pick it up.
There you go.
And then the second thought I had right after that is, I'll never keep the dog off of that. Like she'll be in heaven because it'll be so much more comfortable.
You could do it. I mean, if
now.
it's something you really want to do, it's just going to take a little bit of time because she's been practicing going up there for so long.
No, she's not practicing. She's perfected it.
Yeah,
she's
you
like,
could definitely do it. Actually, if you get a new piece of furniture, it's a little bit easier because now you're starting fresh. It's like, hey,
it doesn't have the scents on it and the
dogs don't always generalize well, so if they've learned to go on one piece of furniture and then you kind of start over with something else, you have a little bit of a benefit there.
I've told everybody in the house, like, if you go to the bath, because the bathroom's right off the living room, I said, if you go to the bathroom, leave the door open.
Because when she goes up.
Yeah. And it's funny because even if you close the door, like, you'll hear it, and then you can just open the door and be like, Ruby, and she'll get down with this look on her face like, how'd you know?
I think it's an attention thing too. She probably thinks that's great. Like, everybody stops what they're doing when they're in the other room and they come back.
Yeah, if we leave the room, just jump on the couch and we'll come back and yell at you. See? So with puppies, then you're bringing them in. Is there a way that you can teach them certain pieces of furniture are okay and certain pieces aren't?
Yeah, you can definitely do that. Again, that's a little bit of more advanced. It's going to take some time and really being consistent and clear with what you want. So you're not encouraging them to do the wrong thing because you don't want to be asking them to come up one day and then change the rule the next day. So kind of sit down with your family and make these rules and decide that everybody's going to follow through with that. And if you do want them on the couch, you have to make sure that they're never guarding the couch or they're never like trying to take ownership of it. So if they're hanging out on the couch with you and somebody comes over, they should never like step over you and be guarding you in the furniture. They should always come down when you ask them to.
Well, you mentioned people coming over, and that's another question I have about puppies. You know, you get a new puppy, everybody wants to come over and see it.
Yeah.
But how long should you wait for the puppy to get accustomed to you and your family before you start introducing other people that aren't going to be there all the time?
Yeah, so that just kind of depends. I would say before you start taking the puppy out into the public, that's a little different. You want to make sure you have vet approval, they've been home for a few weeks, and then you can start taking them out. I mean, definitely start taking them out for car rides and little places here and there, but you don't want to go take them to like a dog park or anything like that when they're really young. But for people coming over, as long as you feel like they're pretty settled in a day or two, I mean, just go for it. I wouldn't say have like 100 guests over, but I mean, if your house is that big that you can have 100 guests over, I would love to be invited because, you know, I like to meet puppies.
But then you just want to play with a dog.
Yeah, exactly.
So you'll be around there with 99 people you don't want to see and a dog.
Yeah, and a dog. But yeah, it's really good for them. They're getting socialized, and make sure that all of the attention that the puppy is getting, it's on their terms. So never just like hold a puppy and let everybody pet them. They should always have the chance to leave. That's a really big confidence booster for dogs if they feel like it's always their choice. Like what if everyone just, you know, on the streets, everyone just started walking up and hugging you? That would be a really weird thing to do. So you don't want that either. You don't want to flood them with too much at once.
How about feeding? Because there's got to be some bit of a feeling out as to, you know, what the dog's schedule will be when the dog wants to eat and when you're going to want to be able to feed the dog. So how do you work that out? Do you just kind of say, this is the time that we're going to eat and get them on that regiment?
Well, so you want to talk to the breeder, see what type of food they've been on, how frequently they've been eating, and then kind of transition to the schedule that will work for you based off of, you know, whenever you want to feed the dog, your work schedule or whatever works for you. It's good if you can turn feeding into kind of an enrichment exercise. So you're not just always giving them their food in their bowl, but you can do some training or even hide the food so they have to search for it. That's just different ways to kind of tire them out.
If I remember, one of the things that we tried when my mom got the puppy, and when she had the Yorkie, that was like the first dog that I remembered, because I had dogs when I was little, but I was 4 or 5 years old. I didn't really remember. So this dog, I was 12 when we got her, so I kind of knew more about what was going on. And one of the things that we had tried doing was feeding her at the same time that everybody else ate, so that she wouldn't be hanging around the table looking for scraps because she'd have her own food.
Yeah.
The problem with that is for some strange reason, my mother decided to give her wet food and would open it right next to where we were eating.
Gross.
And then we'd all have to smell wet dog food. And I don't think they went for the high-end brand.
Yeah.
Because it didn't smell like a gourmet meal. It smelled like the leftovers of a gourmet meal that somebody had packaged in a can and sat on a shelf for months.
I mean, that's a really good idea is, you know, don't open the dog food while you're cooking dinner, because then your whole kitchen is going to smell like...
Works fine if it's dry food.
Yeah.
Do you think there's a better either or for puppies? Should puppies get a dry or a wet?
It depends what the breeder's been feeding them, what kind of dog they are, and what you plan to feed them into adulthood. I mean, there's a lot of different options for food. So there's dry food, there's wet canned food, there's dehydrated food that comes in like a powder and you just add water to it. And then some people do raw diets. So that's all kind of personal preference, and it also really depends on the dog. Some dogs do better with different diets than others.
Because when we got Ruby, she was eating dry food in the shelter.
Yeah.
So we were like, well, that works for us because we don't want to smell wet dog food. But we didn't have any idea of what she really wasn't eating before because she was so emaciated. But that's the thing is, like with a puppy, you know, just like a baby, you can't feed them everything right away because they can't really chew everything right away.
Yeah, and you don't want to start introducing a lot of treats into your puppy's diet because that's going to upset their stomach. And then also if they get sick and you've fed all these different things, you won't know what's bothering them. So puppies do have sensitive stomachs, so you want to stick to their main diet and introduce the treats slowly.
I think we've talked about this before, but overall, people food for dogs, yay or nay?
It depends. I mean, it's fine if it's not going to hurt them. If it's a food they can have, then go for it. I mean, and you're not like feeding them from a spoon off of your plate. I hope. I mean,
some people do.
Maybe. And even that, like, I don't care. People think like I'm a dog trainer. I'm going to be like, don't do this, don't do that. But as long as what you want to train your dog is what you want to train your dog. So as long as your dog is not guarding you, not resource guarding, not doing anything that's a really bad behavior. If you want to do weird things, you know, like that.
Within like the limits of the law.
Yeah. So if you want to do things like that, then, I mean, if it's not hurting anyone, go for it. But then you're going to have a problem when you get your dishes out to, you know, you cook dinner and you're putting your food on your plate expect your dog to beg because you train them to.
Do puppies have to wait a certain amount of time before they can have people food?
I would go with the same rule of thumb. So anything you feed them, introduce really slowly. Really their food, their main diet should be, that's pretty much all they're eating in the beginning, and you're introducing treats slowly. So I consider people food like treats. I don't know. What kind of people food do you mean? Like meat or stuff like that?
I'm not going to share meat with my dog because like that's for me. You can have the stuff I don't like.
Well, you give her like the pizza crust.
Yeah, pizza crust.
Why don't you like pizza crust? What's wrong with it?
It's not that I don't like it. I'll eat it, but
you're just being generous.
Like if she's there, I'll just give her the crust. It's not. I don't throw it away if the dog isn't around.
Yeah.
But I give it to her if she's around. Like when we first got her, we would always feed her egg. She would get a scrambled egg.
Yeah, that's a good snack. Because it would help
her with her coat.
Yeah.
And now she doesn't really get that excited for it anymore. No, doesn't seem to. But one of the things that she used to love is she used to love to eat the rest of my son's cereal every day. So if he didn't finish his cereal, he'd put the bowl down and she would eat the leftover cereal and drink all the milk.
Where would she do this? Just like jump up on the coffee on the
table?
No,
he would put it down on the floor.
Oh, he would. Okay.
But
that's kind of funny.
But she can't have the milk.
Yeah.
So is that my dog thing or is that an all dog thing?
A lot of dogs have sensitivity to dairy. That I find. Yeah.
I mean, she still can have ice cream now and then, but.
Yeah, a lot of people use cheese for training, but in moderation, not giving them a whole lot. But some dogs are really sensitive to dairy. They shouldn't have any cheese or ice cream or anything.
She does all right with the other stuff. It's just drinking the milk. That's the problem. But yeah, I used to take her out for ice cream, and not so much anymore because she doesn't want to go anywhere in the car.
Aww.
But
she just wants to hang out on the sofa and eat pizza crust.
Plus she just vomits.
Oh no.
She's not very good with the car. We've tried to get her a little more.
I know you've done a lot, and it's not like you haven't tried. So
she doesn't. I think she's just. I'd rather get out and run around.
It is what it is.
I don't want to drive around.
Yeah.
But I mean, those dog ice creams, those paws that you can buy in the freezer, those are good.
What do you mean?
They taste good.
Why have you tried them?
Because I love ice cream. And if it's all the ice cream that's in the freezer, I'm going to eat one.
Aren't they like chicken flavored?
Nah, it tasted kind of like it tasted to me like a Hoodsie cup that was, like if you ever left a Hoodsie cup in the freezer too long, it got kind of freezer burnt and you couldn't really taste what flavor it was anymore.
I guess.
It was kind of like that.
Oh, good.
But it didn't bother me.
Well, I'm glad that our pet food is safely tested on Tim.
And they used to get mad when I would go to the ice cream shop and I would order the dog sundae.
For the dog?
No, I didn't have a dog. It was before I had a dog.
You're such a liar. You're making this up.
I would get the dog sundae because it was only $1.
No, you wouldn't.
Yeah. They would literally give you like two scoops of ice cream in a bowl and a cone they'd give you a cone on the top and a biscuit.
They probably changed their menu now because of you.
I just take the biscuit out and then I guess if I dip it in the ice cream it's not so bad.
Yeah, I think we had this conversation at some point too.
Well, you offered me biscuits earlier and I didn't eat them.
I happened to have them in my pocket. I wasn't bringing them just for you. They were already in my pocket.
I just assumed, but I had dinner tonight, so I didn't need them. If I hadn't eaten, I would have probably taken you up on it.
Yeah, I mean, why not, right?
So then in terms of, other things that people need to know for puppies, because we only have a few minutes left, is there anything else that people need to keep in mind when they're getting a puppy? Yeah, so plan before, set those habits, those first few weeks. Don't make it like, cute puppy, we're just going to ignore all the rules, and, set the habits right from the start, and think about long-term training. So you might not want your dog to be a trick dog or a show dog, and that's okay, but you should really think about training your dog for grooming, vet care, socializing your puppy in a very polite way. You're not like flooding your puppy with a lot at once. You're doing it in a way that's safe for them. I know this is a lot of information. I could talk about puppies all night, but it's all good information. Yeah, I hope so. And people can watch this over and over again on YouTube and write it all down. Yeah, so they won't forget. So, but that's the important thing though. Don't say, well, let's just bring the dog home and let it get comfortable. Then we'll worry about it later. Start right away. Yeah, I mean, sometimes that works out and that's great, but then sometimes you end up with a headache, and one less headache is a good thing. I would think. So then, when it comes to getting puppies, it's just as much training the owner as it is training the dog. Yeah, absolutely. And that's all the wisdom I have for tonight. Yeah. because we're just about out of time anyway. Why don't you let everybody know how they can reach out to you if they have any more questions about puppies?
All right. So you can find me at mjspettrainingacademy.com or 132 South Main Street in Acushnet. And we actually have a free puppy grooming workshop coming up on July 15th at 1 o'clock. Yeah, it's free. You should get a puppy just so you can come. No, don't do that. But you don't even have to bring your puppy. So if you are getting a puppy and you want to come to this workshop, feel free to come. You don't have to have a puppy with you. We're going to be going over how to train your puppy for grooming and making sure that they really love this experience because they have to go through it for the rest of their lives. So yeah, join us for that.
So puppy owners or puppy soon-to-be owners?
Either or. So if you have a puppy you want to bring, just call us to register and we'll go through the process of making sure your puppy is at the right age and everything to bring. Otherwise, just call us to let us know you're coming and we'll set that up.
All right.
All right. So this was Positive Pets. Stay positive.